Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics. On this episode, I'm talking about the brand new Murderous team with a special guest all the way from Poland to give us the deepest of deep dives and a real tactical analysis of what this team can do. So, with all that said, let's get straight into it. Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Killteam 40k YouTube channel focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to help give you the tips and tricks that elevate every part of your Killteam experience. So no matter if you're a casual or a competitive player, there should be something here for you. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's a few ways you can go about doing so. You can join the Patreon, where you get access to members only Discord, Patreon priority questions, early access to content, exclusive content, and tournament awards. Or if you find yourself buying Killteam goodies or hobby supplies, you can use one of our affiliate links in the description below, or discount codes with Crossfire Games and GG Prints. We're always keen to hear your thoughts and feedback, so don't leave that comment box empty. Let us know what you think. Once again, thanks for your support, and with all that said, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, and we are talking all things Killteam Shadowhunt and the latest box set, and the team focus for this and the deep dive is on Murderous. But I'm joined by a very special guest to help talk about different perspectives. So I'm joined by Michael from the Polish community, and not just Polish community, but currently top of the Polish league, national league, and with some awesome experience playing both Warp Coven, Phobos, and Vespid. The fly is going to come in useful, I think, in the future. And we've had many conversations about Hunterclade and Phobos in the past because we actually played at WTC. So welcome to the pod, Michael. Pleasure to have you here.
Hey there.
So I think it's just like awesome just to probably give people an idea of where you've done. I've done a little bit of an intro, but if you could just give a little bit of who you are, where you're from, and why you're kind of excited to talk about Murderous, I guess.
Yeah. So I started playing Killteam more competitively, like when the previous edition started. I found this game really, really good. Some of your viewers might have seen me at WTC because we played. I'm from the Polish team that was third on both occasions, and we played both times, both UK teams, and I think that's just gonna keep happening. So,
hopefully,
I love this game, and I like playing elites. I play some Vespid this edition, which is kind of a departure for me, and it's kind of funny because I played both Namclaw and I played Vespid, and now there's a team that is kind of a mix of these two, and it's really interesting.
Flying Nemesis Claw is pretty terrifying for a lot of people. Before we get into the meat of the podcast, because this is going to be a big, heavy session where we talk about all things Murderous, there are some awesome community events that are happening out in Poland, and I'm sure you probably want to have an opportunity to do a bit of a promo to get more people involved in some of your events. So do you have a shout out for your tournament that you have coming up?
Yes, so in April we'll have a Polish National Championship. I think there will be a BCP link in the description.
Absolutely.
We are still figuring out the details, but basically this type of event gets at least 50, 60 people. And we would love if some of the international community visited us. It's a tournament where we crown the Polish champion, and it would be kind of funny if somebody came from abroad and stole it from us. So, you have your chance to come and get it, and it might be funny.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, I'm a big advocate for going abroad and playing international tournaments. So I haven't done Poland yet, but I definitely want to. And so, like, if you're available and you want to go, I think it makes perfect sense to do it, because hey, you can have an absolute blast. And when I did it in Spain, it was really good fun. Okay, cool. So let's get into Murderous discussion. So this is a deep dive. So the assumption when you're watching this podcast episode is that you've already done a bit of your reading, so you know the rules. Maybe you've seen the tier lists and the initial reactions and the hot takes that come from the communities. But we want to try and hopefully put some meat on the bones. And I will caveat it with, we've not had the rules that long, right? So we're reading stuff. There's every chance that we've misread something, and there's already been some FAQs and erratas, an FAQ errata come out to change one of the ploys, and there's probably more still to come on that. So clearly stuff could change. We might make mistakes, but hopefully it gives you a really good insight and an overview. So let's start with operatives, because that's I think where the key part of the team is, and then we can talk about how the rules layer on top of those operatives. And so, I think if we begin with I'll bring up the rules quickly, but if we begin with the Chaos Lord and just what this guy can do, Michael, what's your thoughts on the Chaos Lord as an operative?
Well, obviously, it's my favorite operative from this team. He's amazing. I had to read his ability, I think, 3 or 4 times to really understand it.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is once per action, he can get extra damage or get dealt less damage. It works on crits, which is amazing, and he has, I think, the most powerful combat weapon that I have seen so far. I mean, relic power claws are amazing. You have ceaseless rending, lethal. It's a really good operative. 15 wounds, damage reduction. He can basically almost guarantee 9 damage on charge, which is a very good amount of damage to do in one hit. Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty close to guaranteed, I think, with ceaseless lethal. We will talk about later about the rules that allow him to do this, but in general, absolutely crazy. I think sometimes you will want to take him with a plasma pistol and a power weapon, but it kind of depends on the rest of the loadout, because you can only have 2 plasma pistols, or a plasma pistol and a gunner, so it kind of depends. But I really like how reliable the power claws are. It's a really great weapon.
It's absolutely bonkers. So ceaseless lethal 5, probably balanced as well because of the faction rules we'll get into in a bit. With the rending, it's such a reliable profile. So you're probably walking into most melees, I'd say, with 3 crits, if not more, but probably 3 crits. And so the other bit that I would say on that is so much of the Just a Scratch changes that are happening across the edition now are all being changed not to work on crits. And this guy has the ability just to spam crits out in melee, which means for a lot of operatives, he is terrifying to go against. And he's very, very good at being able to deal in 2 hits 14 damage without counter, and potentially be able to do more if he's souped up, right? Which is you can charge an orc knob and just 2-hit them, and they can't ploy out of it. They can't do anything to avoid it. It's just they're dead. I'm glad you hit on the point on plasma pistols, because I think although the relic lightning claws are such a cool looking weapon and probably are 90% of the time your go-to pick, I do think you want to look at the map a little bit and sometimes go, do I actually need a full range plasma weapon or a melter gun in this matchup? And if the answer is no for both of those, then actually having the double kill potential with the champ and the lord is really useful, I think, against those 8 wound teams, where you can just go in and your power weapon, again, it's good enough. It's still a power weapon. It's still doing 8 damage on its first hit. It will kill most stuff. So I think he is an incredible operative choice to be able to have. One of the things that people have said, just on the FAQ part of this, I know that it says when you strike, you can do additional damage, and some people are saying, oh, that means that you can get to do additional damage every single time. That is definitely not the intent of that rule. So it's going to be 1 hit only. If you're playing it as every single hit, you're just going to be in for a nerf, or your TO is going to slap your hand, I think, personally. It's 1 hit, it's 1 attack dice, and that sort of thing.
It's the same thing they tried with Raveners, when you can just load the gun each time. I mean, clearly that's not how it's going to work. And
you just keep ascending, you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah. But the main thing I find interesting as well is I think a lot of people when they read this rule, they're like, oh my god, this guy is going to be able to get to this crazy damage profile because he's going to be +6 damage on the charge. And I'm like, I don't think you're ever getting there. I mean, for various reasons. One is like you have to keep rolling that action dice, and the amount of damage that you could take is just not worth it. But like I will say that if you're guaranteed to die, like someone's run up to you with a melter gun, and you're like, well, I'm dead unless I get the damnation roll, then you're going to roll for it, right? So, like in that situation, it could be hilarious, and you might find yourself going up the damnation ladder. But most of the time, I don't think you're going to see that in most competitive games of Killteam.
I actually don't like that because it's a bit of like a casino thing, you know, like. It will come up once every, I don't know, 20, 50 games, whatever. But it will come up at some point when you will survive because you blocked 4 damage or whatever. And like with the fact that he will often, like when he is getting attacked and he's supposed to survive, he usually will just have to survive 1 hit because then you can spend a CP and get away. So
yeah. And if you roll that dice and you go,
yeah.
I live on 1 wound, and then you're out of there. And then when you come back in, you're doing 10 damage on the way back in. That's like it's gonna be an emotional combat for people.
Also, I heard like an interesting fact that you can deny yourself basically, so that you kill yourself, and that might mean that somebody doesn't score points. That's a really interesting ability actually to have.
Yeah, I guess against like Dominate, because Dominate has to go against the Operative, right? And Route as well. It's where your Operative is. So if you know that you're going to potentially lose 2 VP or a VP to that, you might be able to say, yeah, actually, screw it. I'm gonna die by my own hand. But he's a great.
There are also
Operative.
some abilities which trigger when you kill somebody, right? So like. I don't know, the Nemclaw guy that like if he kills somebody then another guy cannot contest objectives and stuff like that. Like there are things which make you better if you kill somebody, and if they suicide, it's okay.
He's
oh no, I used the word that breaks the algorithm, right?
It should be fun. Yeah. We're 10 minutes in now. People can talk about suicide.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think he's like as a leader choice goes. I think he's great, right? Like I think most people are going to have no issues playing the Chaos Lord, and you've got some options there. I do think having the flexibility for the plasma weapon, plasma pistol and power weapon is probably worth it. I do actually wonder sometimes if you need to have like the against 7 wound teams, if the ceaseless lightning claws is a little bit just like needlessly oppressive, so you could probably get away with a bolt pistol in that scenario if you had a gunner somewhere else. But you know, you're not going to be sad with the red lightning claws 90%.
And then you can actually take the single lightning claw because it's lethal, it's rending, and if dealing 8 damage is enough, like. You don't even need the power weapon. You don't need the extra damage on crits, right?
Exactly.
So better magnetize this guy if you can.
I think that's the answer. Or do what I've done and just buy 3 different Chaos Lord variants because you can't magnetize because you're a terrible hobby. Anyway, let's talk about the champion next because this guy I think is actually really important to how the team functions and is a fantastic double kill operative. What's your thoughts on the champion?
Well, the first thing that you see is like he has so the new Power Fist is amazing. I love that it hits on 3s, even if it has less dice. It's still fine because basically his mechanic allows you to get severe, which is a guaranteed crit. You also can have punishing, and so basically he can do 8 damage on charge easily, which is again a great threshold. Like all the dwarves are crying, just kill them with 1 hit, and so you have this amazing weapon. And on the other hand, you can carry a plasma pistol still. So he's amazing. Like the fact that he generates a CP, so he gets a benefit and then he gets another benefit. I love it.
It is crazy to think like, oh hey, I really want you to go kill this guy, and I'm gonna make that really reliable for you to do it. And then if you do that, you also get a CP, which the team loves because they got some great ploys, and rerolls are useful as well. But you're absolutely right. The power of exchange, I think, is fantastic. I like the fact it hits on 3s, because hitting on 4s, I might have been inclined to say, oh, I'm not sure if it's worth it because of the whiff potential. But on 3s with balance, because you're almost going balanced, like you're definitely getting that. And then with severe, you're definitely getting the crit. Which, as I said, like if you're into 8 wound operatives, just boom in, single crit done. Take a CP, go for the double kill with a plasma pistol. So I personally think like one of your plasma weapons is always going on the champ. I think he is the guy that you are probably going to give that to, and then your other one is, do I take a Sky Seer or do I take a Chaos Lord with it? Is my personal 2 cents on it. But this guy getting his CP generation, I think is critical to how the team plays. I think you really want him to be doing that. And if you can deny him getting his CP generation, that's great for counterplay. We'll just roll down into Curse Claw. I think it's a bit more of a niche pick than people initially make out. But what's your thoughts on Curse Claw?
I mean, the problem with him is that his melee profile is like not that good compared to some of the other ones. He does fight on death, which is fine, but his snatch ability is like absolutely the most hilarious ability you can have.
That's true. Yeah.
And maybe this is the moment when we can discuss a funny thing which you can do with Curse Claw, because his boost action. If you think about it, it's like he grabs somebody, and you would usually think that he would drop them behind him, but it says in the rules that you can actually drop the guy in your control range. It could be in front of you, and then you can also add +3 movement to your reposition, so you can basically do dash, then do a 9-move reposition, a 9-inch reposition with a snatch. So it's a lot of movement, and this basically allows you to put somebody in a really weird place. Like you can basically put them in a corner and use your base to block them out, and then you have a chain snare effect, which you can't get around.
It's even better than chain snare, right? Because it's like you literally can't fall back, and now you're here, unless you also have a jetpack. But I love that technique. If you can pull it off, it is hilarious to be able to just say to someone, "I'm putting you in jail." And like absolutely, you can't fight or shoot whatever until the next turning point. But it's like I don't need to worry because you're not leaving. And then you're now able to be able to get there. So if you're playing flank or you're trying to get people onto like objective control for retrieval or something like that, being able to do that is really useful. And note that you can also move someone from a good position into a bad position. So I've shown the images on the screen of your your technique, which is pretty disgusting.
Also, so I would only take him, like if I ever take him, I would take him into hordes, because for his ability to make sense, it has to be guaranteed. Because if you do this whole move and you fail the roll, you're in a weird place, you're not in combat, it makes no sense, right? But also he's kind of a good operative to do this kind of thing, because when you grab somebody like this, they will all try to suicide into you, charge you and hit you. But he does one more hit on death, so he will take somebody with him. Also, I realized one thing is that I just need to make sure. Yes, so he can do this while he's falling back, right?
I believe so. Cause it's just when he's in someone in his boost zone, and you get a boost zone on a fallback.
So let's say you do this weird move where you trap somebody, or maybe somebody charged you, or you stayed in combat with somebody. Next turn, you can fall back from this combat while boosting, grab that guy, and set up somewhere else, right? You could even, this will almost never come up, but it's just kind of funny. You could deliver this guy to your other guy, because the guy that you snatch and you drop has to be in your control range, but it can also be in control range of somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So you could do a delivery kind of. it's kind of weird, but I think there will be some niche situations which will be very funny. but other than that, I wouldn't use him.
And the other thing is like just taking mines against this team for exactly the same reason. So Ventriloquar has like, I dread to think what the kill count is of that guy moving people stepping onto mines. It's like, oh, you put a melter mine down, brilliant. Get your mate over there to step on it for me, thanks. So this guy can do exactly the same thing, right? So just be careful where you're putting your sort of like mine terrain to stop people from doing things, because if this guy can get over there, he can grab you and just go, yep, I'm going to stick you on a mine, or I'm going to put you in jail in a corner of a map, and suddenly you're in trouble. But no, I agree with you on the, if you want to use that though, like if you're doing it on a dice roll and it's just, do I roll higher than my opponent? I don't know. That's a bit too risky for my for my liking. And if it goes wrong, as you say, you'd have stood in the open now, probably about to die because you've used all your APR to get there, right? So, not the not an auto include, but I think he's got a place. I said a little bit more niche potentially than I think people initially thought when they look at it. Let's talk about the Predator just quickly, because I have some thoughts on the Predator. And I think this guy is bonkers. Like, let's just start with that. So, yeah, I'll quickly do what I think. I think this guy's one of your best elite killers, elite hunters that you have. And the threat that he can project, even if it's unlikely, is still insane, because this is one of the few operatives in the game that I'm aware of that can do 14 damage in a single, like, first strike opportunity, essentially, because his carving blow isn't limited to a boost action, it's limited to a fight action. So essentially he can charge you, do the claw charge, do a damage, then do 2d3 damage to you, and then fight you, and if he gets a crit it's an additional 7 damage. So if he rolls like a 5 and a 6 or whatever, and then gets a crit on his dice, that can be 14 damage in a single hit. Again, that's crit damage that can't be just scratched. So like, if you're, and there's a chance that it doesn't work out all the time, but if you're against like wreckers, this guy can potentially just go and kill a wrecker and get around a lot of their normal ability just to say no. Your thoughts on the Predator, man?
So I completely agree with you, but also, so he's great into elites, of course, but even into hordes, he has 2 range on his 2d3. Like, this is a lot of range, because you have your base, you can charge, like you have boost, right? So you can land in weird places, and you can basically do a lot of damage to a lot of operatives. And again, like, so we are on 4th operative. It's the 4th that we're talking about, and this is the 3rd one that can probably guarantee 8. No, he can guarantee 9 damage, right? Without the crit, it's 5 plus. If you roll 1 and
if
a 1,
if he rolls
then,
minimum, if he rolls minimum, he gets a 3, and then with a 5, it's 8. So his worst roll is that. If he gets a crit,
which is
then it's
insane again, right? So getting a crit on him is you have 5 dice and 1 reroll. So like on 5 dice, I think you have like 55% or something like that. With a reroll, it goes to 60 something. So you can't really, you can't rely on that, but it will happen. Like, to me, it's like a 50-50. I round down, but then again, like, he doesn't need to roll that crit, right? He's brutal. They can't easily parry you out, even if you just have 3 hits. And so he basically almost guarantees a kill, and then subtracts APL from some fool who's standing around. So like, he damages people around you, and then like, he's amazing.
I think he's one of the top picks for me. I know a lot of people are saying they weren't sure if they should take him. The synergy that this guy has with the faction rules, as you say, the splash damage being able to hand out, the single focus damage he can hand out, and the just being able to hand out APL stuns is again massive. Because if you charge this into a group of dudes, and you start killing people, and then you say now you're stunned, and the next turn they can't get away, and you get to do more damage to them, you might just start finding you're just picking up 7 wound operatives just from the carving blow alone, right? And they can't necessarily run away from you, which is big. Also the the stun thing, I think it works on fighting and retaliating. So if someone charges you and it goes wrong, then you can hand out a stun to someone else as well. So you have to be really careful when you try and fight this guy. But overall, I think he is just an awesome operative. We're rolling down into the Huntsmaster now. What's your thoughts on Huntsmaster? So you played MC Score. You've used a lot of chain snares, right? On them.
Yeah, so it's actually funny because before the rules came out, everybody was like, "This is gonna be Nemesis Claw with wings," and I was like, "Okay, let's see if they have chain snare." I go into equipment and I read them like they have something similar, okay, but they don't have chain snare. Then I read operatives and I'm like, okay. So they have one. Cool. They don't even have to spend equipment on it. No, I mean, he has a good profile. He has a power weapon. Power weapon is always good. It's better than like what the Curse Claw has by a mile. Crits are very important with this team because of the ploys. So having a power weapon is very good, and I don't think you're gonna use this strike from above very often, but he's good just on his own. Maybe you would drop him so you take him into matchups where you want to use his pinned prey ability every time, and if not, then maybe not.
Yeah,
you would have to check the specific matchup.
I completely agree on the strike from above. So I think for me, a lot of people when they're reading this team's rules, they're like, "Oh, the boost rules aren't that good," and I'm like, "You just don't need to use them, right?" So like, don't worry about it. Like, it might come up where you're in a situation where you don't want to risk fighting someone, and you can just do 2d3 plus 1 damage as you fall back over them or something to kill them and then do a mission. Hypothetically, that's a scenario where it comes up and it's useful. Most of the time, it's not. I think this guy is when you're selecting operatives with this team, you want to look at like the damage breakpoint of your enemy and think what matters for the damage breakpoint of my enemy, and choose the weapons based on that, because you're essentially looking at that. And he has the additional buff of pin prey, so it's like, yeah, this is the weapon that I want. I want a 4/6 weapon. Cool, and now I'm going to be able to get pin prey, and he's going to be able to do some work there. So again, a really strong operative. Power weapon's always good. Combine that with fly and being able to lock people in melee. Hey, that's a great combo. And just on the locking people in melee thing, I just like chain snares is one way of doing it. Reducing people to 1 APL is another way of doing it, and this team has that like everywhere. So like they can, if they want to, they can hide in melee with you, and they're pretty mean. We'll just, I guess, briefly touch on the Raptor. Have you got a use case for the Raptor? This warrior. Yeah, me neither, man. Like I just think all the specialists are better. Like I can't see a reason when I'm thinking, I really wish I had the ability to have an operative that's slightly worse than what everyone else does personally. So. As I said, I'd rather give the plasma pistol to the Chaos Lord and take another specialist than take this guy. So for me, Raptor, he sits on the bench, so you don't need any of those.
It helps him when he's injured or he loses APL, but I think that once you go out with the Raptors, you should treat them as dead. I mean, they do a double kill and then they probably die. They're not that defensive, so like this ability will not come into play that much.
Yeah, either you're like hiding in melee with some sort of stun technique or something else that you've got, but just the standard Raptor is just a chainsword. Like, yeah, he's not getting kills as reliably as the rest of them. I completely agree with you. Like, you want to have that they're a missile, they've achieved their objective, and then you move on with someone else. The Shrieker, hey, I love this guy, having come from Phobos. I'm sure you love him as well. What's your thoughts on the Shrieker, my dude?
I mean, the Reaver ability that he has is basically amazing, and it has won me many games when I played Phobos. You can just put him on an objective, and it's so hard for the opponent to interact with it. Like this team has different ways of making it difficult to get interaction, but like basically he can easily steal an objective because he reduces APL of your opponent. It's not easy to just come up and loot an objective on which you are standing. Also, people often forget about this ability. It's like they will do some crazy combo. They will try to, and suddenly they're one APL short or something. It's something they have to always calculate, and it's some kind of additional attacks. And also he has D3 damage and removing APL. He's awesome. He doesn't have a good weapon, but in many situations, Chainsword is just Chainsword with a balance. Like it's fine. Not into elites maybe, but in general he has a lot of utility anyway.
Yes, and he's actually another one of those operatives that can, again unreliably, but like can one hit 9 wound operatives or 8 wound operatives. So when you charge, you do damage on the charge. You can do D3 damage from your shriek. So averagely 2, which is your 3. If you get a crit, then it's 5. Or if you roll high on your D3 damage and get 3 damage, and then you roll a normal, suddenly you've done 8 damage on entry, or potentially even 9 damage. And I just think that's like a really good like combo to be able to have. Completely agree with you on all the objective control points. This guy is your like crit up king because he can just take objectives people weren't expecting. If your opponent's got an icon bearer, this guy has the ability to not just go toe to toe with an icon bearer, but move on to the objective, reduce the icon bearer's APL, and then take that from them, which is like again huge when you're in that elite versus elite matchup. So this guy's really really good, and I think. One thing that everyone's going to have to be like worried about if you're playing a retrieval or something like this is that Wings of Darkness point we've already mentioned once, being able to add that additional movement, being able to move 9 inches on a boost, land on your home objective, reduce your APL of your control, and then just take it. So if you've got 2 guys holding it, 2 normal like horde dudes with 4 APL, he arrives, you now count as 3 APL, he stuns one of you, and now you count as 2 APL, and it's like you stack all these things together and it just goes, and now I'm taking this objective, and you can't do anything about it. That could be, theoretically, your last activation of Turning Point 4, which would be a big swing.
Also, you don't really want to plant a banner if he's around. It's like...
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just great.
So many things right now is just so good at ruining people with plant banner. Okay, the Sky Seer then. What's your thoughts on the Sky Seer?
I think you take Melta into elite matchup always. Other than that, I don't know. Sometimes it's just good to have one long range weapon. Usually when I play an M-Claw and I won't take like a plasma gun or I don't know, a heavy gunner or something like that, people can just play differently. It takes it's just easier for them, like the ranges are different, like they don't have to think about heavy cover as much, and sometimes I regret it, but it's difficult because this team has many good operatives, and like it's difficult to just take a plasma gun. On the other hand, you have access to punishing, so I think let me just check, but punishing works on ranged weapons
if
as
you're
well,
on
right?
advantage, yeah.
Which you will be.
So
punishing plasma gun with overcharge, it gets lethal. It's pretty good, but I don't know. This is something I would have to test.
Yeah, so I think there is some synergy there. I think it's 100% map based, right? You need to look at the map, and if you go, oh, actually, it's going to become important. So if you ever find yourself on Beta Decima, firstly ask yourself why, and then secondly think about taking the plasma gun. But because you're going to be on vantage the whole time, and so therefore you're going to be getting that punishing, which works when shooting or fighting, and it, as you say, it just synergizes well with Lethal 5 and just makes people consider constantly where they're putting operatives. Now, as you say, like most of the time, I think the answer is probably Meltagun, but I do think having that threat of a plasma gun can be really good on certain maps, and where this guy can go really really easily with like a dash and a reposition just to be on top of the main vantage in an area with great vision, like sight lines, is pretty scary. But it's worth noting that your opponent's probably going to get double retain on their defense dice and that sort of thing. So you need to roll quite well. You sort of want that punishing to proc. But a balanced punishing lethal 5 plasma gun ain't bad. Like it's still good, but most of the time it's going to be Meltagun unless you look at the map and go, I can put some real pressure on you right now by being on this vantage with this weapon, I think.
And if you're playing into a 7 wound team, fists are good enough. You get 1 damage for charging, and then you just need to have 3 hits. You have balanced, fists are sometimes good enough.
I think, again, just on the map, when you're thinking about the map, ask yourself, is 8-inch plasma enough? Because on a lot of the Volcus maps, I think if you move your champ up into a decent position, or your lord into a decent position, or whoever's got your plasma pistol, you'll realise that 8 inches is actually covering the thing that you care about anyway. So it's only going to be if you're doing those cross map shots, or that your opponent's got a horrible drop zone where you're going to be able to get those things. And so I think it's worth looking at, but weirdly, I think he might be one of the first operatives to drop when you're trying to choose some of the more interesting options. So finally, on operative selection, we have the Warp Talon. No shooting on this guy, but some more pretty killy melee options. What's your take there, man?
I mean, whenever I see Lightning Claws, like the full set with ceaseless lethal rending, I'm happy. I played a lot of the Nemclaw guy with Lightning Claws, and
the Shrieker dude.
He's my favorite guy because he's the only one that's really reliable in this team, and so this team gets 2 like that. I mean, okay, it's not 4-6, it's 4-5, but Lightning Claws are awesome. What I really like about him is his ability. So I think my gut feeling is that this is really good for Tomb World because on open you can basically set up on vantages in a way where they can't really come close to you, because then you get easy double kills, right? But it's much more difficult to do on Tomb World, but because there's no vantage. But you can put this marker in a good place, and suddenly you can threaten at least one place quite easily. It's 4 inches from the token. So you set up on your edge, and then you have 4 move plus 1 for control range. So he's pretty good. Usually you will just put the token, they will just not go there, and in your activation you will just fall back behind some heavy cover or something. But just the fact that they can't set up properly because of this is pretty good. Also, how cool is this? He claws through the warp. What the hell? Props to the designer. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think you've absolutely nailed the use case, right? There's often times where you look at a room where someone's, they want to move into that room, they want to be able to get on a central objective, whatever. You're not too sure how you're going to be able to get there, and you just go, well, actually, I can force you to be a lot further away than you want to be. And the fact that you also get to see how people are deployed during the first turning point, and then go, okay, I actually, now looking at what you've done, I'm going to put my token over here, and I think that's going to be impactful as well. And then again, just having rending and lethal 5 is just so good for synergy when it comes to ploys and everything else that this team does, and getting around just scratch, as I said. So for again, raw melee damage, this guy is phenomenal. But one downside is you're not going to have any shooting weapons, but you make up for it in other ways, I guess, with this guy.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. I think it's I agree. All right, so that is the optives. We've looked at the data cards. Do you think there's any? I mean, I was going to say auto includes the Chaos Lord, obviously, because you have to take him. But what do you think is the auto includes, the never takes? What's your situational picks? What's the logic?
So if I was gonna set up a 1-box team, so you have to choose 5 guys, and the Chaos Lord, I would do the Champion, I would do Melta, I would do the Predator, Shrieker, and then I would have to think between Warp Talon and Huntmaster, but probably Warp Talon.
Okay, that's cool. You've got the detail exactly the same as me, so that's good.
Really?
Okay. I would go for those. I think the Huntsmaster's good, but you can proxy him with the Predator if you need to, and B, I think he's maybe slightly more situational. and the warp talon is just really useful. But again, I quite like a defensive game. I don't like exposing threats where it need to. So the warp talon for me is just really good for playing retrieval, playing area denial, like being able to like just say, oh, I'm going to put something here that means you now hide away from me, and if you do turn up, I'll kill you. But if you don't turn up, then he can appear in my drop zone. I don't care. Like I don't have to play aggressive with him, but equally I can play aggressive if I need to. So I think he just pips it for me over the Huntsmaster.
It's crazy to me because you have a flying guy with chain snare and power weapon, and he's kind of not good enough because you get these effects elsewhere, right?
Yes.
So
it's the APL stuns and all that sort of stuff that you have from other operatives. Because there's other ways to do what he does, but there's no other way to do what the warp talon does. So yeah, and that's me pretty crazy. And I would say if I'm doing a one box thing, as you said, I think Sky Sword the metal gun is the way to go for a one box team. Champion with the plasma pistol, and therefore your Chaos Lord. You take both lightning claws. Is my one box pick. So it's good that we both went for the same ones though. That's good. Or we're both wrong, but maybe that's the way to look at it. I think for me, I wouldn't personally bother building Raptors. I'm not saying that they're a never take. Maybe there's a team that's going to make you injured and stunned all the time, maybe in the mirror match, but I just think that you like in a mirror match you're giving up the ability not to be stunned to not be able to kill people, and like I would rather just be able to kill someone than be like, oh, but my APL's now less, like I don't care. You're killing most people in a charge and a single fight anyway, so just my 2 cents on that.
I think the only reason to do a Raptor is like maybe next edition it gets good and you don't want to paint Raptors anymore, then you just preemptively paint one. I do this, but I'm kind of crazy, so...
Well, you like hobby as well, so...
I do, yes.
Any excuse for me not to do that is taken from me. I think broadly the same thing when it comes to auto includes. For me, the champ is your auto include. And then actually, if you have all the options, I think you'll find yourself flexing between all of them based on the map, the mission, and the opponent you're going against is kind of where I see it myself. So yeah, any comebacks or disagreements or any of that, mate?
Yeah, I think we agree 100%.
So we'll just cover the faction rule again. I'm not going to read the rules, but you've played quite a lot of Vespid, right? And I think you've got some opinions when it comes to the strength and power of Fly, and how it kind of maybe changes your perspective on the game. So these guys get Fly. If that's the too long didn't read. Like if you need to read the rules, go read them. But these guys get Fly. So what's your thoughts on that as a faction rule, and how does it change your play style?
So this is the Fly as it should be, because it's not teleport, it's actual Fly, right? So I really like that. The thing with Fly is when you look at this ability, then you start thinking, how do I set up one-way threats? Because this team will be the king of setting up one-way threats. And on Volkus, it's easy. You just land on the rooftops. You can sometimes set up in a way where nobody can even climb. Like with 6 guys, it's less possible, but it sometimes might be possible. So that like even if somebody wants to climb, there's no room from the angle that they're coming. So that's one part, is that like you always measure a lot of distances and you just set up in a way where you just stand there and it's your decision if you start fighting or not. And the opponent doesn't get to make any decision. That's the perfect world that you can set up on Volkus. And to achieve that, you also start using a lot of barricades. I remember when I started playing Vespid, I used their equipment a lot. And like after a few games, I usually took just one, and then 2 light barricades, razor wire, and then a heavy barricade for my setup. And it's just amazing. So like a good thing is you put a heavy barricade somewhere and you just go straight above it, right? So you don't have to go the 1 inch left, and then so this team is amazing, and this ability is amazing. You can do a lot of it with Vespid, but Vespid are unreliable. Vespid, like, you can set up one-way threats, then you go in and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be the case with Murderwing. They will. The name is correct. They will murder you. They will, like, very reliably murder you, and this fly is better in some instances because you can go 8 inches or even 9 with a dash, right? Because Vespid can't move, dash, and shoot, and you can as Murderwing. So I think it's absolutely crazy on a melee team that is so reliable and so and have such explosive damage potential. So
I could not agree more. And like, so going back to my sort of Phobos days, and I guess it applies to Wolf Scouts as well. A lot of the asymmetric movement that people are thinking about is like, you have to account for cover, right? Because you're in cover, you have a cover line, and either it's 90 degrees or it's 45 degrees, whatever it is, but it's not 100% of movement moving forwards. So let's say you step out 1 inch and then you go forwards with your charge. Well, with your 7-inch threat range, you were able to basically ignore that barricade or whatever. But everyone else is paying a 1 inch tax, so now you have this little advantage. Well, Murderwing are doing basically exactly the same thing. So you can almost read it like they have 7-inch move in a way, because they are ignoring the fact they have to worry about those cover lines. But it's better than that, because when people try to root block you, which a lot of good players are going to do, right? Like, they're going to try and put some razor wire out there. They're going to have it so that their base can fit through and yours can't, and all that sort of stuff, which are all problems when it comes to playing Phobos or Wolf Scouts and that sort of thing. You don't have to worry about that. But 100% agree with you. Like, start thinking about how you can make your opponent start worrying about that, right? Like, if you can use those universal equipment pieces to really lock down where people can and can't go, then you now have freedom of movement to go do what you want to do, and they can't come back and hurt you. Coming from Warp Coven days, the guy that could fly was this threat potential. He was one of your models, right? And it was a nightmare if you had to play around.
Yeah.
You have that everywhere, right? So like, you got to try and use it. You have a game plan. So we're about to roll into faction equipment, but that's something that you need to have at the back of your mind. It's like, what are you, by taking this faction equipment, what are you losing elsewhere in how it can restrict what your opponent does? I think is really, really important, because a lot of people, when they see this, they go, well, I ignore razor wire, so why would I take it? And it's like, because it's not for you, right? Like, it's like, it's for the guys that can't.
You don't need cover from your barricades. They're just to annoy your opponents.
Yeah. And a tactical tip that I've mentioned before for people is, like, put the stuff that you're going to put on the halfway line down first. Like, and if you're playing against this team and you see that they've got razor wire and barricades ready to play, then for the love of God, like, put something on. Like, if you know that they're going to block off a whole corridor on ITD or something, then put a light barricade with a gap big enough for your base so that you at least get a 2-inch bubble of, I can now get through to that objective, right? I see that people make that mistake all the time.
But still, even then, you're adding stuff to the board, and the other guy is also adding stuff to the board. So, like, yes, you should do that, but it's not as good, because, like, people used to do it to me when I played Nemclaw, and then it's really annoying, right? So I also take my pieces, but the thing is, like, you are also hindering yourself moving into that position. It's like, so it's not so great, and also not every team has the equipment slots to just take barricades just to block my barricades.
Yeah.
They might need them for cover or something. It's like, or they might want something else. You don't get 5 equipment pieces anymore. You only get 4, so it's more precious.
It's amazing how much difference it makes just having just a little bit less equipment, right? It's a big difference. So we'll talk about equipment. We'll just quickly touch over their faction equipment, what we think is good and not. So blade fins, which is the 1 AP action when you're doing a reposition, or a fallback to do D3 plus 1 damage. I'm not sure of a use case when I ever want this. Like,
never.
Like, it's an AP to not kill someone, and probably not even wound them. And so like, I think a lot of people look at this and they think this is what the team's about, and I'm like, this is not what the team is about. This is just a dud card that you can leave in the bottom of your deck and probably not use. Have you found any uses for it where you think, oh, this is a sneaky good?
But you know, that's what the Warhammer community article said that this team is about. That you fly over, hit them, and only after they got softened up, you go in. No, I think this equipment is useless, and we can just move on. To be honest,
we're moving on. The opposite of useless is the clawed armor, right? So this is the 0 AP. For some reason, this one is free, and it's whenever you do a boost action, specifically the boost charge action. You inflict 1 damage on one enemy operative in your control range when the charge action ends. This is amazing in so many matchups, but occasionally I still think you don't necessarily need it. But like, oh my god, this is the makes you go from not one hitting stuff to one hitting stuff in melee, which for me is phenomenal. But yeah, the one thing I would say is that if you're into a particular matchup where you don't think it's required, so you're against, let's say, a whole bunch of 7 wound teams or whatever, and you think that you've got the power fist on your champ and you've got the 7 wound damage anyway from your Chaos Lord, maybe you don't need to take it. Or if you're against a team where the damage breakpoints are such that it doesn't matter, then sure. But against everyone else, really good. Most of the time, you want to take this because it's just free damage. And the amount of times where you go, oh, I need to roll a crit because I need 5 damage, and you go, no, I don't. I need to roll a hit now because I need 4. It's big.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on clawed armor?
Yeah, basically the same as you. Almost always take. Might be sometimes a situation when you don't need it.
Yeah. Now, the one that I am a little bit more on the fence about is warp fuel. This is the once per turning point when an enemy operative does the fallback during its action, during its activation. You can then, if you're within its control range, do a reposition or charge. But you can only be 3 inches.
I think it would be awesome on a different team, but they already have this kind of effect elsewhere, right? So equipment points are really, really precious, and this is kind of like a different way of getting changed there, right? So that you can stay in combat, which normally would be amazing. But I don't think they need it. Maybe into shooty hordes, you take it anyway. I don't know, but
it comes up every now and then, and you think, oh, that would have been cool. But you're against a shooty horde, and someone falls back from you, and they've used their APL to do that, and then it's your activation again, and then you can charge and kill something else somewhere else. So you're already going to provide them additional threats, and the guy that's already gone and got 2 kills and is now locked up in melee with someone, sure, keeping him safe on a turning point is nice, but I think you can just if you're in that scenario where they're having to fall back and not do damage to you, you can probably just start absolutely going in on the team anyway. So yeah, I think it's a bit more niche. I think, as you said, shooting horses is probably a good example of it. But a lot of the time, I'm just thinking I'm not 100% sure if it's worth it or not.
It's another barricade in the end.
Yeah, it's yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then the final bit is Voxcasters, which is the 1 AP action where each enemy operative within 3 inches of your operative takes a stun test, which is just a 3-up. If you are successful, you can subtract 1 from their APL. What's your thoughts on that one?
I am not sure, to be honest. It looks interesting. It's another way of getting the same effects. So basically, I would have to play this team a lot to get a sense of do I need it or not? Because you can get the same thing somewhere else, and you don't have to spend equipment on it. But then again, it's really 3 inches plus your base. If you you could stun half the team, But then again, it's on a 3+. So will you get it on the one that you care about? It's I don't have a good idea about this, to be honest. It might be good enough to take.
So in one of my games I took this because what I could do with it was essentially on Volcus was threaten stunning an entire horde team, or at least half of it, right? Which is terrifying for them, so they come into panic mode. But the challenge that I had with it is I was like, okay, so I can do that. I can charge all these guys and do the stun test against basically all of them. And at that point, I would have had like 3 people in my control range, so I can probably hide a melee. Or I can get a double kill. And like, you're in that constant thing of I can charge and kill his melter gun and then also kill the plasma gun in this double kill action, or I can stun some people to increase my survivability this turning point, and maybe and I'm just you're always I think weighing up between like your own survivability and being able to like just kill stuff better. So I don't think it's bad. Like I think it's probably like for me, Clawed Armor is you're taking it like every time, and I think Voxcast is in this like it's a tool that based on what the terrain looks like and how many razor wire light barricades and that sort of thing that you want to have, or smoke grenades and those sorts of things, you can consider taking it, but you don't necessarily need it. But like 3 inches from your base is a huge amount of stun. Like,
yeah,
you can get a lot of people with stun, and if you get it into a horde team and then just go, I'm now making you all -1 APL. You can make a lot of people very unhappy if you're playing against like cults or something like that, and then suddenly they can't move.
The thing is, this team doesn't get any extra APL. You don't have free mission actions, nothing like that. So your actions are quite precious. Like often, if you will go somewhere, you will probably want to kill somebody and top their point or something like that, right?
Exactly.
And yes, it's a very powerful effect, but is it worth it? We have to see.
We've already talked a little bit about universal equipment, and the only ones that I would add from what we've already said on obviously razor wire and light barricades are like your bread and butter. Is I actually do quite like smoke grenades on this team as well, because one of the main sort of staging threats you can do with your very last activation is because you can control the tempo, you can throw out your champion, say, as your last activation on turning point 2, which is the last activation of the game. That guy can be really far forward in a smoke grenade, and if you lose initiative, he's on advantage in a smoke grenade. So, like, the best they're going to get is maybe an obscured shot before you then get to go kill someone and do the thing that you want to do. Whereas if you weren't in that scenario and you didn't have the smoke grenade, you might take more damage than you want to or something like this. So I like smokes, but I like smokes in general on elites. So obscurity is pretty good. Anything else stand out from the universal equipment for you?
I think I would only think about smokes, to be honest. I think that it's a good counter if they have sick light, because you will often try to use the floor to get cover, and maybe you do what you said, you fly on their side onto the top of the biggest focus building, right? And so maybe they can get a shot at you with a sick light, but then you put smoke on you, and if they can't remove obscuring, then you still have a pretty safe operative, which can go anywhere basically. But it will depend. I see a playstyle with this team where you wouldn't need smokes, you just stand and wait, but I don't know. Yeah. It's gonna depend.
I think you're right in a sense that you can definitely play this team where when a model is exposed, it's because they double killed and they've already done the stuff that they want to do, and therefore you're happy almost to lose them. But yeah, I think it as most elites enjoy smokes, it remains good. Let's roll into strategic ploys. Also, do you have anything else to say on equipment? Did we miss anything that you cover? So I actually think these guys have some really good strategic ploys, and it's weird because you won't use them even though they're good. And on most other teams, I'd be like, oh, I would use that, but like you're just like, it's good, but it's not good enough, right? So if we start with Predators Above, which is their reliability mechanic, where 2 inches high you get balanced the kill zone floor, or if you've done a boost action during your activation you get balanced. This is just so easy to do, and it just means that whenever you're shooting, you're fighting, your reliability is through the roof. I think as soon as you think the game's getting kinetic and you're going to start trading with people, this is the one to go for. I mean, anything you want to build on
From
that?
TP2 onwards, you just probably always have this active. So you have to just put it in your budget because, elites love rerolls.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And like with as we talked about already, rending and all that sort of stuff, like being able to just fish for those sixes and rolling more dice means it's just more likely that you're going to get them. So it's a great ploy. The next one is Cold the Weak, which when I first read it, I was like, I think you're going to use this all the time. And then when playing with it, I'm like, I'm not actually sure if you're going to use it as much as I thought you would, because of the conditions. So this is the punishing one where if you're shooting or fighting against someone, and if you're 2 inches higher or they're 2 inches lower than you, weird way around it, or their APR is less than normal, or it was wounded at the start of the activation or counteraction, then you get punishing. If the last caveat was it was just wounded, then I would be taking this all the time, because with the clawed armor you'd be forever procking punishing. But because it's not, like a lot of the time when you yeet that first model in, you don't get it. So it kind of feels like more of a shooting buff than anything else. Your thoughts on?
To me, that's something you use on, say, TP3, TP4 if you were actually fighting and you just want to have some more reliability. But then again, how often will you need the punishing? I mean, I guess it's good if you need a lot of hits. For example, you're in combat with I don't know, Tyrannid, Reaver, Ravener, and you just want all 5 hits, right? Then it's pretty good because you need all hits, but usually you just kill things so easily that it shouldn't be a big difference. Like, it's good on Plasma because you will easily, like on Volkus, get the condition, but like do you need it? Will you be shooting so much? It's hard to say, and I think that you need CP somewhere else.
Yeah, I think you identified the use case. It's like you're fighting a Ravener Prime, so you can't get rerolls, and you really need to kill him, and you need to resolve like 3 hits to kill him or something, and you go, okay, well, I'm just in now. But other than that, I don't think it's worth, like, I think it's a bit more situational. When I first read it, I thought you use it all the time, but not quite as good as I hoped. Next one is Nightmare on High, which is the defensive rerolls. If you're on on advantage or 2 inches higher than kills in floor, or you did a boost in that turning point, you get to do a reroll. So I like this against shooting hordes on TP2. Like if you're going kinetic, or maybe TP3 if you're playing a slower game, but as soon as you know you're going to start committing models to killing stuff, a lot of your models are going to be staged on Vantage anyway, so you've got balanced defensive saves, and then as soon as you start moving guys forwards, you are then balanced on your saves for the rest of the turning point. So if you think you get shot a lot, and you're going to say move out and get a double kill, move out and get a double kill, move out and get a double kill, this then suddenly becomes really, really strong, because now all of the guys are saving with a reroll for the rest of the turning point. After that, once you've done that go turn where you've thrown everything forwards, you're probably not using it again, I think. But yeah, your thoughts?
I agree, but realistically, I don't think you will be. So if somebody gives you a ton of double kills in turning point 2 and you see that, you just go for it and you win the game anyway, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, when you play, they shouldn't give you that many double kills, and then you basically shouldn't go at all, because going with 1 Raptor and killing 2 guys, I think then you just give them scoring opportunities, which they might not have if you just, like, if they can't hurt you, you can play this team in a way where you just score points and you just play it safe, and like there's no reason to go, because maybe then maybe you get a 2-4-1, but you drop a token, and this was the only way they start scoring, right? Their Tacop. So yeah, I think you should think when if you go to a double kill, you're probably dead anyway. This reroll might not even work, or they shoot you with a melt hand. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's I guess it comes down to a play style thing. Like if you're playing a slow game where you're waiting until the end, You don't need to. Like, if you, because there is another way of playing this team, which is maximum pressure, and you stage a whole bunch of guys up on TP2, and if you're against like Kazakin or another 8-wound team that like can't really respond to that pressure too well, then there is a good chance that you can just go, I'm going to move all my guys up onto this line, and you have to be so far back that you can't interact with me, or if you come forwards, I'm going to kill everything that's within 9 inches of me. And in that kind of scenario, then it's going to potentially keep those guys alive longer, but because you're probably killing key threats. But I agree with you that the alternative is you play a slow game, right? And I think that's probably going to be the better way to play this team. But we'll come to this in a bit. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of success from this team just by unga bungering and just going straight forwards. And if you're doing that, and that is your strategy, giving all your 3-up save guys rerolls is going to help you if that is your strategy. I'm not saying it's the right strategy, but yeah. And the last one is Instill Fear, which so this is damage reduction 3 or more when fighting. I think with this team, my personal take is, if you're not killing it in one hit, then don't be killing it. Most of your fights you want to be killing it in 1 or 2 hits max, and therefore the damage that you're reducing this by is like 1 damage. Unless that makes a big difference, then like because of you've got I don't know how where the breakpoint is in this scenario where it makes sense, but like you've got 3 wounds left and the guy has that and you're therefore going to die in 1 hit, but you can 2-hit him for some reason, then sure. But most of the time, the 1 wound I don't think is going to make much of a difference. What's your thoughts on that though?
Maybe into Goremongers or something like that. When you like, if you get hit twice during your activations because you do a double hit and it's 2 HP, so it's meaningful. It stacks with Chaos Lord, right?
That's true.
So I think there will be use cases for it, but in general, I agree with you. Not often.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Again, the Ravener's use case we said earlier, there ain't no way you're going to be able to kill a Ravener without having an absolute slog. So as soon as it starts becoming 3-4 damage, or whatever, then absolutely that makes sense. But I mean, the amount of times that I can see like myself paying for this ploy, charging a guy, they get like a crit and 2 hits, whatever, and I get my 3 crits, and I go, all right, well I crit you and you crit me, and I take the full crit damage, and then I go, I crit you and you die, and it didn't proc. Like I can just see that happening a lot.
Sometimes you will parry their crits so they can only hit you, I guess, but like
and then you take a bit less damage. But yeah. Okay, malicious narcissism. So we're on to Firefight ploys, unless there's anything else you want to say overall about strat ploys. But ranking them for me, balanced, you're probably spending every single time. You want to budget for that for TP2, 3, and 4. And the rest, I'm like, use them when you need them.
Situational.
Yeah, you use them when you need them. Okay. I think this could be the best Firefight ploy in the game.
Yes, definitely.
I'm trying to think if there is one that is better than it, and the only one that I can think of is Absolute Authority being able to say that you can't use it.
But only once.
But only once, and I think this might be the best Firefight ploy in the game. Like, it'd be interesting to know if you're watching this video and you've got a comment, and you think there is a better Firefight ploy in this game. Let me know in the description, because in the comments, because I cannot think of one that is better as an elite player. So. This obviously is you can delay your last activation until your entire enemy team has activated, and it costs you your counteracts, sure, but most people who have probably played with elites know that a lot of those counteracts are you waiting anyway, or it's an immediate thing that you're going to do. So, what's your thoughts on malicious narcissism?
Absolutely crazy. It changes the way this team plays. It's incredibly powerful. If you combine this with the +3 movement you can have, then suddenly your opponent can play Envoy into you, can't plant a banner into you, it's just horrible. Usually what happens is like you activate elites and then they get to do what they want, right? And okay, you have Deathwatch which can change an order or something like that, so they have to be extra careful. But at least on the last activation, this is when they are usually safe. And just for one CP, you turned like the biggest weakness of the elites into like their biggest strength, because it's not just a random dude on the ground that's gonna be activating last. It's the Chaos Lord that's sitting on the top of the vantage that you can't do anything about. He moves 8. He one hits most of your guys. Like it warps the game incredibly. Like it's definitely the strongest ploy. It's usually like if this team didn't have it, I would say that like some teams can really play into them. Like they still have a lot of damage and a lot of things, but this thing means that you are the control team. It's just we are playing Murderwing's game. You can set up on vantages, just sit there and just wait with this one guy, and there's nothing they can do. They can't come to you and kill you because you're on a vantage. They can do something after you. So basically, crit up is yours, because like if you need to stand on a point, you just do it later. They can score Tacops. And you have recon, by the way, so we can play retrieval. So, for example, what you can use this for is, let's say you've been standing in place the whole game. I've had games with Nemesis Claw where I set up in a way where just nobody wants to come to me, and like they know they're gonna lose the game, but they also don't want to get Malta in the face, and we just stand there. They get some points, but not many. So there could be games like this, where like people don't get desperate enough to run and they just accept like they will lose it by a bit. And in such games, you basically use this on last TP to go and steal their point, to just grab your Tacop points from there. And if they put a lot of guys there, sure, then you just get kill up. So it's so the first time I read this ability, I thought it was like you get second to last activation.
Yeah,
I already thought it was super strong, but then I realized it's always last, and I was like, wow, this is broken.
I cannot see this lasting a data slate. Like, because I thought exactly the same thing, right? I was like, I'm reading this wrong, because this says that I can go last. Like this, it must be that I get to do like the no, I did get to go last. And mate, you absolutely nailed it with your description. Like, as an elite player, things I hate is things like transmission, it's things like state claim, it's the ones where I have to go and sit on an objective in the open and then my opponent gets 5 activations to kill my elite that's exposed, but I have to have them there to be able to score crit up. There's nothing I can do about it, right? And you just go for 1 CP, no, I'm not doing that. And you go, oh, that in itself is amazing. The synergy then with recon and the fact that you can deliberately play a slow game, and now you're in an even better place, is just phenomenal. Like, I don't know what to do against it.
And the new initiative system means that you have a better chance of going last and then first. Like there are times when you can basically guarantee it. There was a game recently I had where I had all the cards in my hand. It happens rarely, but like even if you have, let's say you have +2 and the reroll and they already used their +1, you can basically go into open and you have a really good chance of going first. And you're going into open with a Chaos Lord. So like even if you lose that initiative, are they gonna kill him? Not in melee, because you will just jump back. In shooting, maybe, but you probably have a smoke. So like I just see so many possibilities of like abusing this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I literally could not agree more. It takes all of the negatives of playing an elite team in my mind away, for the majority of problems that I have, and just gives you complete agency over the game. I think if you can learn when to use this and how to use this as the Murderwing player, then like you are like in such a strong position against an opponent. Like I think about all the games I've lost to Hordes as an elite team, and me being able to say, actually, I won't expose a model until the last activation, is I would win all easily, like easy be able to win those.
Nothing they can do.
Yeah.
And it can be guided with a chain snare, right? So they move and you just hide there. It can be the guy that reduces the APL control. It's like there's so many good guys that can do this. I would pay 3 CP to use this.
Yeah.
Easily. I would pay 3 CP. Not every turning point, but like right now you don't even have to think that much because you can use it every turning point.
Yeah.
You use this and balanced, and you're already fine.
And and like the amount of tacops as well, like that. So if your opponent is playing security, they want to plant banner. Well, good luck with that, because if you plant it anywhere within 9 inches of the guy that's now waiting to kill you, he's either going to kill you or he's definitely going to contest it, and therefore you're getting less VP. So there's that. And he might
Shrieker can even steal your banner.
Yeah, might just take it from you. And then it's like, if you want to do envoy, like you have to at the start of the turning point, right? Tell me who your envoy is. So like, it's like I'm not gonna misplay and go, oh, I'll make the guy that's like, oh, no, the guy that's opposite and waiting for your envoy to come forwards. He's staring at you, going like, yeah, come do it. So yeah, like bonkers. Like, so the counter plays you can have are insane. Like against any horde team that out activates you and they're relying on that, this is a 1 CP to just say absolutely not, kick him right in the nads and just say like you're not getting it. Such a strong ability, absolutely.
But same into elites, right? Your Melta goes last always, and you can guarantee. Like I played a lot of Nemesis Claw, and the fact that you can stall an activation basically means you win all the elite matchups. It's that simple. They have other tools to win versus other elites, but like having one extra activation is really strong. And this is basically that. And it's on a flying Melta, like with balance. You don't even have to spend a CP to reroll like you usually would.
Yeah, and
insane.
Like and again, like that's assuming that you're against an elite team where you need to use it, because you might be going second anyway.
Yeah,
and therefore you don't have to spend the CP. But if they, as you say, if they use their delays or anything like that, then they just go, yeah, cool, I'll spend a CP, and I always get the last option. So absolutely bonkers, S tier. But CP, like, bank that for TP like 2, 3, and 4. But even like I've even potentially used it on TP1 to, if you want to play that hyper aggressive play, which I actually don't think is the way to do it. I think it's needlessly aggressive, but if you want to Unga Bunga, like you absolutely can by playing this on TP1. And then your last activation can be a very killy model moving up into a position where it can then dominate next turn and kill multiple people and score you route. So if that's what you want to do, I don't think it's the best way to play the team, but that's what you can do, and your opponent can't stop it.
Some people will look at this team and think it's like corn berserkers with wings, right? But this one ploy means that they are actually siege. They're just control team, which like you can win games with taking very, very little risk.
It's interesting because like it does remind me back of like playing Warp Coven, and the way that like I would play Warp Coven, and I think the way you would play it was very much like stuff moves out and it comes back, and it's never actually like you're never actually giving anything to your opponent, and it's this really like defensive sort of game plan. This lets you do that similar thing, right? Whereas a lot of the other times when I played elites, I have to step forwards. You have to be in their threat range. When I was playing Phobos with Beacons, it was always like, how do I score what I need to score by being as far away from you as possible, so that you have to come to me, and I'm giving you the absolute minimum, right? And this lets you do that, which is incredible. Next up is Murderous Descent, which thank God got a nerf, because like I was like, this cannot be real, and then luckily it got nerfed. So this is if they just do a quick refresh, if an enemy does a charge, dash, fallback, or reposition within 3 inches horizontally of you, and 2 inches lower, because you have to be on advantage now, you can now interrupt. Or if they change room on ITD and Emblem 2, you can interrupt and do a free charge. Worth noting, there's no charge distance restriction on how far you can go, but you're not getting boost because it's not during your activation. So you can't fly, but you are still moving your 8 inches to be able to do your charge. So I think it's probably a common thing that's going to catch people out. But there's no reason to say that you can't potentially charge down off advantage and charge multiple people and tie up other people within ranges. What's your thought on Murderous Descent?
I think it's situational, and basically it's going to come up to like if somebody misplays. I don't like these abilities that like basically you stop there because like you can interrupt activation, right? I don't like this because they move somewhere, and I'm like, hey, I can interrupt this. Or, no, I was moving the other way around or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's always like
It's kind of feels bad for your opponent, like, because they will always say, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that, so now I won't." You have to like almost go like you have to wait and go. Are you happy the way you move that guy? Yeah. Now I'm going to charge you. Also, you have to be on engage. So, I'm not too sure how often you're going to be sat on advantage on engage.
I think it's more for Tomb Worlds. You
Yeah.
like sit next to a door, go on guards, and maybe sometimes you will use it. Again, like they have better things to do. It's not like something you will play for. Maybe sometimes it will just happen.
Yeah, I think the Tomb World is way more interesting because you're absolutely right. They jump between doors. They have to come within 2 inches to move to the hatchway. You can then charge them, and it gives you that flexibility. But like before when it was you could just do it on the ground floor. I was like, this is absolutely insane. Because you could do some bonkers stuff where you put someone engaged behind behind the doorway on Volcus, and then suddenly you're like charging out, and like they're like, oh god, you came too close to me, like all that sort of stuff. That now doesn't work. So like, I'm good because I did think right previously I was like, this is just toxic as hell. Like if you're a shooting team, you can't get within 2 of them or even 3 on anything. But now, okay, it's better, but it's better to play against. It's just situational as a murdering player. I mean, if it comes up though, and it means that they don't get to shoot their melter at you on ITD or Tomb World, then hey, that's big. So there's ways to use it in a good one.
And that's really good because, like, on Tomb World, you have a guy that is waiting with narcissism can't be everywhere because Tomb World works differently. There are walls and stuff. So in one place you can use this, in the other place. So basically you can make it safe for you in 2 places. Because even though you are on guard and they want to shoot you, you might not kill them, or they might have a mechanic that prevents it or something. But if you charge them, they can shoot you.
Yeah. They might have that sort of saver protocols, put it in someone else, something like this. Long Forgotten Honor then. So this is the when you're fighting or retaliating, instead of striking with a critical success or blocking, you can instead do no damage and do a free fallback action up to 3 inches, and then the fight action ends. Mental.
Crazy. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, and this is one of the reasons why we said that like getting crits is important. But because like somebody changes your Chaos Lord, you reduce on a 2+, you reduce the first damage you get by 2, and then you just jump away because you're gonna have crits. You have ceaseless, lethal 5. It's fine. You're gonna have crits, and even if you get just 1 crit, they charged you, and the first thing they have to do is parry. That's no good into a Chaos Lord, right? So basically, like a heavy melee team, like it's basically what Tau got, kind of like the stealth suits, right? Why does it work on Retaliate? I don't understand. It's crazy. Like all the goremongers, all of these teams are crying because first of all, you don't have to give them any combat, but once you do, like first of these combats won't even work, you know.
And the other thing as well is like it's after rolling, right? So you've got the Chaos Lord, right, who's an absolute murder machine, and you're already probably a bit sketchy on whether or not you're going to kill him by charging him. You charge in and you whiff, and I go, oh, I'm gonna stay in this combat because I'm gonna kill you. Or you go in and opposite way round, right? And you've rolled your 5 crits, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually gonna lose a Chaos Lord if I stay in this combat. No, I'll just leave. Like that ability, like just to be able to control the pace and choose when you want to stay or not, is huge. And as you said, like to lock them in, you have to either double parry out their crits or something. Well, like that's not good against the guy that's going to absolutely tear you to pieces. Like you're just taking way more damage than you need to. So I am shocked to see that it works. Shocked to see that it works on retaliating. I think it's oppressive. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's a real feels bad for melee teams. Like, we've just seen Wolf Scouts get hit with a nerf to say that you can't reduce people's attacks when they're fighting you, and you can't get the bonus damage when you're fighting, that sort of stuff. So, like, trying to stop this sort of thing happening, because for a lot of melee teams, they don't have an answer for this, I think. Other than, I hope you don't roll a crit, because you've got rendings, you've got to.
And it's it plays with narcissism. You move Chaos Lord last. Let's say you play into melee team, and now at their first activation, the only target is Chaos Lord. They try to get him. You get away. You can get away. Like, you can move not. You don't have to move back. You can move forwards with the fallback, and now it's your activation. Now you activate Chaos Lord, and you go into their backline, and you do whatever the fuck you want. It's like
with your lightning claws.
And on charge, you're not gonna fail with Chaos Lord. That
no.
got maybe like hit for what, maybe for 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then again, you can use your reduction of damage or more damage. Like, crazy.
So this is as defensive tech goes, absolutely phenomenal. And I think, as I said, the fact you get to wait and just go, how well did you roll? How well did I roll? Okay, now I'm going to choose what happens here. Is yeah. I mean, it's. Oof. I realised in my practice game I forgot to use it, and it's one of those things where you go, I think had I used this, I would have like tabled my opponent without losing any models. And you're like, that's not okay, right? Like, it's like, that's not okay.
One of you is having fun.
Right, exactly. It's probably the person who has models left on the table. Cool. The last Firefight ploy then to talk about is Wings of Darkness, which is the adding 3 inches to your movement stat when you do a fallback or a reposition, and you do a boost. Restrictions: can't shoot, fight, or do carving blow, but the rest are good to go. I love this for a variety of reasons. It doesn't say you can't do mission actions, right? So the amount of times where I played a game as elites and the guy that was supposed to tap the objective over there suddenly died because my opponent rolled well or whatever, and I couldn't run away in melee or whatever happened, right? And you go, oh, I now actually can't reach that, or it's going to cost me a lot to be able to get there. Now you can go, I can move 12 inches across the board, 9 of which through the sky on boost, and just get my model to where I need to be able to play that objective, play that flank, or set up for the next turning point, whatever you need to be able to do. So I think this is like, again, phenomenal. We already talked about the Shrieker and some synergy there of like.
Well, this was what I was gonna say now, like stealing banners, just contesting things. Amazing. And like even you can even in some situations try to do the mass stun thing, because you can do it after doing this move.
Yep.
The amount of synergy is crazy.
And I think, the use case and the synergy with retrieval or countering flank or doing that, like, if it's a crit op where you can potentially deny your opponent scoring anything in a turning point, like you're playing transmission or something, and maybe they've not put that anywhere onto the middle objective, right? Because they're like, oh, I don't want to go because you've got this malicious narcissism, and you go, cool, instead I'm going to go onto your home objective and now contest it, and I still get more points than you and all that sort of stuff, and now suddenly they score a big fat 0. Those kind of swings that people aren't expecting from this are huge. So doing that from so far away is just really, really good. Like, movement is always king, right? And we sort of know that.
Yep.
So that's their Firefight ploys. I think arguably some of the best in the game. I think, again, weirdly, Murderous Descent is probably the worst of those Firefight ploys, and I would love to see that on any of my other teams probably most of the time. And I'm like, oh man, these are 4 really good Firefight ploys. Sure, they each have like different use cases, and it might not come up, like Long Forgotten, or it might not come up against Shooting Team. Most of it might not come up, but like when they do, they're impactful, right? So like you have these things, and if you need that extra movement, then absolutely like roll with it. Cool. So do you have anything more to say on any of the ploys?
Nope, I think we covered it well.
Nice. So let's just roll into a general discussion about play style, because we've kind of, I think, alluded to a lot of it, but I think you've got some ideas about how you would play this team. So from a play style perspective, what's your take?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I played Warp Coven very defensively. I also try to play Phobos as defensively as you can. Set up a mine, be as far as you can, then maybe go for double kill and plant the banner. Not the banner.
Beacon back in the day. Yeah.
Beacon. Yeah, my favorite Tacop ever. So when I see this team, I just see a team that sets up situations for your opponent when they have no good plays. They can't reach you. They can't do anything. The only way they can do it is in 2 turns. They first have to move into some kind of a stupid position, so that only in the next turn they can reach you. But then you have narcissism to punish that. And if you play smart, if you put enough barricades, maybe you can show the Volkus example. I had there's already some maps flying around on the internet where people show where they would put barricades, where they would put operatives, and it's really, really hard to reach you if your opponent doesn't think about it and doesn't take barricades to block your barricades. On many Volkus maps, I basically randomly picked one, and then I picked the worst side. I mean, maybe it's even better in the end. I don't know. It depends on the matchup, but you can put 4 guys on a roof. You can put a guy on your objective behind a heavy barricade. Nobody can get in there easily, but you can get out. There's no way from the stronghold on the top right they can get to you. They can't do it with move dash because you can climb during dashes. So it's this doesn't work any way you try to do it. They can't charge you. And you can get there. You can get on the top floor of their stronghold. You can just basically get because you have recon. If you didn't have recon, it would be different. But since you have recon and you can play retrieval, you can just retrieve your point whenever you want. You can just go on the middle objective with the dash, just jump from the building, do a retrieval, boost back up, and you just wait. And what are they gonna do? If they have seek and destroy, they're not scoring anything because you're not fighting them. If they're playing infiltration, you're not giving them points also in any way. If they play security, you will mess up the envoy and you will mess up the plant banner. So only if they have the same recon options as you, but they will never grab your objective because you put the Shrieker there. You might grab their objective. Middle objective, let's say everybody takes, let's say nothing happens there, passive game, whatever. Then you have a guaranteed last activation in the last turn, and either they give you their retrieval on their point, or they give you kill up, because there's no way a Chaos Lord is not gonna kill somebody. And I don't see how you play around this. I mean, of course, you may misplay, maybe some barricade is in the wrong place, and maybe you somehow give them an option. But if you think about it hard enough, if you practice the setup at home, if you play some games, I think you can really set up situations where it's just one-way threats and they can't do anything about it. The only thing you have to do is if they give you an opening, you really think do I need to go for it? They give me 2 operatives. Yeah, sure. But the only way you can lose then is if you try and you fail your rolls, because you can always fail your rolls. So you have to be then I see this patient hunter thing, you just, the opportunity has to be really, really amazing to go for it. Maybe you have +3 in cards and the reroll, and then basically you go for 4 kills, right? 2 kills in the last activation in your turn, and then next turn you take 2 kills again. Then I guess it's good, right? But
doesn't work for them. This is it. I completely agree. So I'm looking at your picture right now, and you have those 4 guys on the vantage, right? And the guy that's closest to the center, who can fly with a huge threat range, can be your Chaos Lord or a champion or whoever you need it to be. They're all perfectly killy enough, and you dare people to come and interact with you, right? It's
yes.
Do you want to do this? And by the way, I'll make it my last activation. So even if and this is again with the being able to fall back from the dishonor thing. Even if I go in and I whiff and I only get a single crit, I probably go, oh, it isn't this. I haven't been able to kill the operative and go up and the kill up this turn. So instead, I'll not crit you and fall back, end the fight, and go. I'll just deny you crit op, and then I'll play for the initiative the next turn. Right, like that's it almost feels like my worst case scenario. Like I need to roll no crits, like and that be my loss condition is on my 5 dice with lethal 5, ceaseless and balanced. I don't get a crit, and then that's my worst case scenario. And the best case scenario is I've killed one of your operatives, I've taken the crit op, and I've now retrieved the item as well, and I win initiative and I kill another 2. And I think
even with just hits, Chaos Lord still adds damage to regular hits as well. So like the edge case, and you still do plus 1 damage on the charge. Yeah. Like the edge case where you don't get a kill is like, I don't know.
It's so unlikely because you essentially have relentless with 5 attacks. 5 attacks, lightning claws with lethal 5 and rending. I think you kill pretty much anything in the game, with the exception of maybe the Ravener Prime or something like this. Like you need something that is very, very hard to kill to survive that kind of onslaught. In which case, like they're a 5 operative team, so you can probably soften them up with something first. So I'm with you, dude. And I love what you've shown here with the root blocking and that sort of stuff. And I look at some of the as an elite player right now in the meta, I think about some of the worst matchups for me. Like I'm pretty scared of wreckers. I think they can do a lot of damage. They set up a lot of one-way threats themselves. I look at this on Volkus and I go, now I have the advantage. Like in this sense, right? I can now reach you. You can't reach me. If they don't deny the advantages on the other side, then I can, as my last activation, position on the top vantage. They still can't reach me, but now I can threaten their home objective in the following turning point. Like this sort of thing. I just think that like the combination of those abilities is so good for a slow and methodical playstyle that you just completely control the pace of the game. And I think the skill expression for good players being able to control that and choose when to go forwards is going to be really high, and you're going to see this like very uninteractive, hyper-effective gameplay at the top tables. And my concern with this team is at the lower tables and mid-tables, I also think that the hyper-aggressive game plan is probably going to work 60%
Definitely.
of the time. I think you can do all of that and you can make your win percentage way higher. But I think there's also just an element of this team which is like you could do exactly the same staging right there, and your opponent has to move something forwards, has to come and interact with you, and you just start a killing chain that they can't contest, and then you just start killing them one after the other. So I think that is you nailed it with your thing. I think Recon plays so well for this team, and it also not just does it make you the best odds of being able to score, but it's the best way of denying your opponent Tacops. And so if you're playing like a teams format where you care about margin of victory, or you just want a very, very safe win, if I'm playing against wreckers, like, cool, tell me where your plant banner is, or tell me where your envoy is, or are you going to try and kill me because I'm not giving you any shots. So the only way you're going to kill me is by running someone up super aggressively, and then I'm going to probably kill them first. So yeah, crazy stuff, and that's on Volkus. And I think the bit that when I say I think this is probably the best team on Volkus right now, is true. I don't think there's a team that can really compete on Volkus against this team. And normally,
maybe Wolf Scouts can try reducing the amount of I don't know, but it's hard.
The Wolf Scouts have to reach you is the issue, and in this scenario, so I would be reliant on a concealed guard shot with severe doing enough damage to make it so that you don't want to do something. I don't see it personally. I don't see it. The mine is good. So the Wolf Scout with the mine, he can maybe go onto that middle objective and put a mine in such a way that means that if you charge him, he gets damage off against you, which might make the maths slightly less favourable. But I'm not sure.
But the mine is too small, and you fly, so basically drop
you
more or
would
less
need
where
like
you
a
want on the
perfect
objective.
positioning.
So
yeah, like
yeah,
you need to invest equipment and a mine to make sure that they can't land anywhere. Up like you'll have to do like 4D chess whilst your opponent is just like, I'm going to sit here and make you think about it. And if you do all of that, I'll just move a Shrieker on and take it anyway. So like,
or multi you or something.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. And then that's my like thoughts on Volkus, right? I'm like, this is the strongest team of Volkus. And then in every other like elite game I ever play, I'm like, I'd rather play on 2 mod and ITD because elites are just inherently better with access to guard and all that sort of stuff they can do. And like activation of it's just better on ITD and 2 mod. So when I say this team is worse on 2 mod and ITD, like I don't like that's already in a meta where elites are doing really well, right? Do you have any thoughts on either that, or you had some more pictures on 2 mod and ITD as well?
I agree on Volkus. I don't think you can do anything into this team. Seeklight helps because then there are maps where you can't really set up so well because you can only get light cover from the ruins. So Seeklight does help, but they have fly and they have the last activation. So even if they can set up in a crazy way, even standing in their deployment or slightly further than their deployment behind a heavy barricade, with their +3 move and stuff like that, they can still threaten everything they need, and it's enough. So I think it's like many points of like why this team is oppressive, and like which is why like we can take a look at the Volkus thing. On the world thing. Still, they are wars. You can set up so many one-way threats, but you still put a lot of equipment on the board. You make it harder for your opponents to go through. And you can just play for 2 points. You just defend your points, and then you just use Narcissus to grab the middle one. You can try to, pretend like you're going for their point, so that they have to put more guys there that they would want to, and then they have difficulty rotating these guys because on some maps it's really difficult to rotate on Tomorrow. On this map in particular, there's a teleport that basically protects your point. Like, I don't know. I still think like it's not. I wanted to say it's not as oppressive, but I think it is in the end, because you put the barricades in a way where they still can't reach you, and you can reach, like, maybe you can't fly, so like it's not as good, but you can still easily contest middle objective every time. As the last activation, there's nothing they can do with it, and then you can either easily kill them or prevent their Tacops or whatever.
I think that's it. Like my mentality with this is, if you can force a small differential when it comes to crit op, and you only need to do that on like 2 turning points by 1 point, that's enough. And a small differential on Tacop, and then all you're doing then is denying your opponent Tacop, but by not engaging with them. And there's very few teams that can do anything about that. If you've layered those things together, you're going to win by a few points. Like before we even get into any dice rolling, right? Like, because just by sequencing those moves, you've won on crit op, you've won on Tacop, and they now need to like table you to win the game. And so, if you're in that scenario and you're a 6 operative elite team, so for them to get ahead of you on kill op, they probably need like 4 dead elites, like for them to be able to do that. Like, you're probably exposing 2 elites to do that. So they now have to take the risks. They have to be the ones that are positioning themselves to come to you and roll the dice where it might not go their way. And they get one fight that goes wrong and you fall back, and then you charge them and kill them in the next sequence. Those sorts of things, I think, are going to make it really difficult to play and play into. So I completely agree on your take, dude. I think the strongest playstyle for this team is that Patient Hunter. It's using that advantage. It's focusing on those little VP swings here and there. And then, hey, if you want to Unga Bunga, you can. You can.
It's still gonna work.
It's still probably gonna work. Right? There's still Space Marines. There's still Nemesis Claw with jetpacks. You can probably set up on the line and go for it. And with Route, you're probably going to score well. you're probably not going to live long enough for dominate, but you can probably score enough points on route. So it's an option, but I think, hey, if you want to have that cerebral gameplay, just have a think about how you can block your enemy's movement and that sort of thing, and really make it difficult for them to be able to get around the map. Which I guess is, when it comes into counters, giving this team the option of choosing board side and placing first equipment is probably something that you do not want to do. Because if your opponent knows what they're doing and they put that equipment in a place which screws you, hey, you're done.
But they love the reroll of initiative as well, because then it's easier to get last activation, first activation. So you're kind of screwed whatever happens. The reroll is very strong, right?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. We've kind of already talked about Tacops. So for me, I think Retrieval's great. I think that's probably your go-to in most games if you want to go for that play style. If you want to go Unga Bunga, you've got Flank or you've got a Route as two options there. If you want to play a killy but slow play style, you've got Dominate. I think all four of those are good options. Personally, I think I'm leaning towards Retrieval 90% of the games, because it just lets me be able to play a completely uninteractive game with my opponent. They don't need to do anything, I don't need to do anything, and we'll win. Some maps might make it really, really good for Flank, and you might go, yeah, this is going to work for me. But my sort of caution on that is, now with the Flank nerf, you're probably only getting 4 VP just by going down one side of the board, so you have to commit to two sides. So the amount of maps which work well for just getting a guaranteed 5 is now less. So just something to be aware of. Whereas Retrieval, I think 5 is eminently more achievable, and probably 6 is actually quite realistic. And
with Flank, it always can go wrong, and then it's really. But with Retrieval, you have 2 points kind of guaranteed. Like, there's no way you're not gonna get 2 points, right? Just because you tapped it, and like actually getting 4 points, it's really easy. I mean, focus, you fly, you put yourself in a position where they can't reach you. Like, they're not gonna kill the guy that has the token. No way, unless it's your choice.
Yeah, unless you're yeeting him into them. I think that pretty much covers all points on Tacops, unless you have anything else that you want to bring up.
It's good.
I think we've covered a lot of combos and tricks, but was there anything that you think that we've missed when it comes to cool stuff that this team can do, that we might have missed out on?
For sure we missed something, but I can think of something right now, because like there's so much synergy here that like every time we talk about something, we have to talk about something else. So I think we covered everything that I thought about, but I'm sure there's more with this team, because it's just bonkers.
There's loads. There's so much. I think I'm sure. Like, so for me, I can't see a world in which their Firefight ploys don't take a nerf. So I think I can see the being able to run away from fights getting nerfed. I can see the malicious narcissism getting nerfed to either be more expensive or whatever. I don't know what the solution is, because the way it's worded. And even with all that said, I think there is more stuff that people can dive into. Thinking about how you can apply APL debuffs in the correct way to be able to have correct crit op control. Thinking about how you can threat range people out. Just those sorts of combos, I think, are just really, really good. We haven't really looked too much at the fact that this team hands out an insane amount of APL debuffs. Like, the Predator can do it every time he kills someone. The Shrieker can do it, just guaranteed. You have an equipment that does it. And so, like, those things can happen multiple times in a turning point. Not the equipment, but it's a lot. It's a lot of APL debuffs. So you might find that you're really struggling as a team to be able to do anything against them. I think that covers Murderwing and all the stuff that we were going to talk about. Is there anything else on Murderwing specifically that you wanted to say before I ask you the question, where do you think this team is going to land in the meta? Like, we probably.
So I think they would be probably too strong with 5 operatives. Like, with the way I think they could play, does it really matter if you have 5 or 6 guys with all of these ploys? I'm not sure. Maybe it does. Maybe they can they could just move up, and you have but I don't think so. I think even with 5 operatives, this team is probably too strong. But I've been wrong before.
It's for me when I was reading these rules, I was like, this team I think is going to dominate the meta, in my opinion. Like as soon as people figure out how to play them and they understand that slower play style is good, and they start using them well, I think this team is absolutely going to dominate. I think Fire Operatives to me is the only way that you can like quickly just reduce the overall power level of this team. I agree with you though that you're still going to get a Chaos Lord that goes at the end of Turning Point 2 to take a point or kill 2 people, and that's fine. Like you can't stop that. But then you need to start like salami slicing the rest of it. But I'm amazed by the amount of people that think this team isn't broken. Like a lot of people seem to think that this team is less problematic than Sisters, from what I seem to think, and I'm like, I don't see that at all. But maybe that's just me. But like when I read this team's rules as an elite player, I was like, this team is absolutely bonkers. And I think maybe a lot of people are reading their rules from the perspective of non-elite players, who haven't been out activated, who haven't had access to recon, who like haven't had this ability to set up such one-way threats and non-reciprocal charges.
Yeah.
And I think they don't understand that from an elite player. I'm like, oh my god, this is all my weaknesses like taken away. Like this is insane. And I get 6 operatives, and they're all 14 wins. Yeah. like oh my god, and they're all killy. I'm like, oh, and I've got rerolls. Okay, right, like, and like they have everything. So I think this team is S tier. I think on certain Tomb World maps and that sort of thing, I think Wolf Scouts can have play, because they can be equally kind of killy and can match threat range if you can't completely root block. I don't think that's the case on Volcus, unless you get a favourable side potentially. So yeah, I'm really unsure as to if this is a good thing for the meta right now, because annoyingly, the Data Slate came out, and I'm like, Data Slate is good, right? Like all the top teams have been nerfed. I still think it's something a bit too strong, but all the top teams have been nerfed. All the bottom teams have been buffed. We could argue we're in a good place.
Yeah.
And then this team comes in like a wrecking ball. I feel. What's your like meta impression of this? Because
I think they're in a tier of their own.
S+.
I don't know. Yes, their own tier. I don't see how you lose games with them. As you said, there are some maybe maps and matchups where there is some play into them, but I don't like. It's not like they have a big advantage on Volcus. I just don't see how they lose. That's the problem, right? Like, Warp Coven was broken, very broken, but still occasionally, like even with the defensive plan, somebody ran into you. Like you could get oversaturated by like I remember like playing Phobos and just going hard into Warp Coven and just killing them. Like this type of stuff happens. But here you can't get lucky if you can't get a shot. You can't get into combat. Like what do you do? Like it's like I just don't see how this Murder Wing team loses if it's played correctly, like very patiently and strategically. So it's bad for the game, definitely bad for the game. So I will admit I haven't read the Sisters because I've seen a bunch of text and I was like, I know Bart is gonna talk about this team with you, and I'm just wait for. It was just too much text for me, so I'll wait for somebody else to parse this and give me the too long didn't read version.
Yeah.
But Murder Wing is like really simple on the other hand when you read it, except for Chaos Lord ability.
So
yeah, I think. No?
I'll so quickly on that. Yeah, like Deep Diver Bart is on Patreon, so people can check that out if they want to. Will be done exactly the same as this, but for the Sisters, because I agree with you that is a complicated team. But with this team, I think like the rest of the meta right now is in this rock paper scissors balance meta is the way I view it. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't like rock paper scissors meta balances per se, personally. But that's what it is, right? So a lot of the times you look at it and you go, well, wreckers are good into these guys, but they're bad into these, and these guys are like elites are good into this and bad into that, whatever. And you can do that for most of the teams, right? You can see you can look at a team that is available now and think, I know a team that is good at killing that team or beating that team. I right now cannot look at a team and go, this team is good at beating Murderwing. Or where if I was a Murderwing player, I would look across the table and go, I am terrified of seeing that team against me. So, as an Angel's Death player, I look at Wreckers and I go, oh my god, that terrifies me. I think I can play into a lot of the other teams, but I look at Wreckers and go, I need to roll well. That's my only solution to this, because that team was just set up to be able to kill me. I don't think that's the case for Murderwing. I think they have a good game against them. I think actually it's a favourable game for them. So, yeah, I'm a bit worried about Murderwing. I think people are maybe underselling it a little bit when it comes to their power level, and I'm conscious of this. I try to always be the voice of positivity, reason, all that sort of stuff. I always try to be the guy that's like, hey, it's not too bad, and all that sort of thing. And there is definitely ways you can improve your game to be better against them. But I think this team is an example where it's all just too much. And it's the first time that I've ever entertained intellectually the idea of, is a community ban a good thing?
Yeah.
Because I think it might be. And I don't know what the nerf is. I don't know how you get them back into line. When I first read the rules, I was like, you just need to remove an operative straight away. All of this is too much. You can start salami slicing and trying to figure out what you should do, but as it is, this team being the same team as AOD, but with these rules, I'm like, no, they're better in every aspect than AOD. They're better in every aspect than Deathwatch. They're better. I'm like, how do you, if you're a Deathwatch player, play against this team? I do not know. They destroy your breakpoints, right? They're so anyway. So they're good against elites. They're good against hordes. They can score really well. They can play an interactive game plan, and I don't know. What's that like?
I think you need to tackle narcissism. I think that's the biggest issue. I think if it was second to last, then there's some options. At least you can get punished, something like that. But it's not going to happen for quite some time. We were actually thinking that this team is so broken that there might be a day one nerf, because the designers have nerfed a lot of the teams that came out recently, and I assume that this team was tested versus other teams from the Tomb World season, so this is why it's so strong.
Yeah.
But if they see that the other teams have to get nerfed sometimes multiple times, then I was hoping that maybe they do something about this one. But I guess we're gonna have to wait for at least 3 months. I mean, now they there was a time when they wouldn't even do it in 3 months, but now I'm pretty sure they will. But so I was always against bans because usually even Wolf Scouts, they will have a worse map or worse scenario, or they can roll poorly, or it's not an auto win, right? It's a very strong team. Don't get me wrong. Canoptech the same. At its peak, right? It was very strong, but it wasn't that easy to play, right? You could misplay and stuff like that. But with this team, it's just so bonkers broken beyond belief, in my opinion. That's so in Polish community there were some voices about bans for a long time, so that maybe when a box comes out we just ban it. We wait until the first balance patch. To me, this is nightmare scenario, because people are hyped for new teams. They want to play them, and it feels bad if you go buy the box, paint the miniatures, and you don't get to play with the miniatures. So we have different communities, and now there's group of us that represent each community, and we talk about it, and now we are seriously considering banning Murderwing in our so we have two types of tournaments, small tournaments, they would be legal, but in the big tournaments, the nationals and all the 2-day tournaments, which have a bigger multiplier in the league points, I mean, there's a high chance we decide to ban this team. I don't know in the end, because we talked about this recently and people have different opinions, but I was always against this, always, but this time it's different.
I'm in a similar place. I think I've always advocated that we shouldn't do community bans. I've always said that no, it's not needed. Like, these teams are maybe they're too strong, but it's not that bad, kind of thing. But this team in particular, for me, like, and I'll be so happy if the stats prove me wrong, right? And this team comes out and they get like a 50% win rate, and no one's winning any tournaments with them, and it's a standard placing rate, and I'll be like, okay, eat my hat, like, I deserve it. But I just...
No, you delete the video then, okay?
I mean, pretend it never happened, right?
Yes.
But like, I imagine that we're going to see over the next few weeks some really strong results from this team, and a whole bunch of people going, oh, they're problematic, and like, I think a community ban wouldn't necessarily be a terrible thing, because I worry that on the casual table, what we've already talked about, is someone running 6 Marines against you and charging everything in sight and killing you is going to be really oppressive for casual players, and they're going to not necessarily enjoy that. And they're going to go, I don't know how to deal with these Marines who are just charging me from areas that I can't reach them. And then at the higher end of tables, you're going to have this very waiting out gameplay style, where it's like, I can guarantee a win with minimal resource and risk, and it's going to be a 2.3 point swing, and I can do that, and it doesn't require anything from me. So I think at both ends of the scale, it's not like, oh, this is a problem just for the competitive players, or it's just a problem for the casual players. I think it's a problem for everyone, and therefore I don't think it's good for the game for this team to be as strong as it is. And I do understand the challenge, right? So like, for the balance team, like, it's a nightmare, right? Because they obviously have made all these teams at the same time, right? So they made Deathwatch, Canoptech, these guys, and they've all been balanced together. And like, do you balance the game for what the game is right now, or do you balance the game for what the game is going to be in 6 months' time, right? So, with the new approved ops, or with the new teams or whatever, like where do you find the balance? But the issue that we have is like, well, we have 6 months right now, where those teams don't exist, and it's just this team, and all the teams before have been nerfed, so you have to balance it for right now. And I think we've seen in 40k quicker balanced data slates come out, or emergency nerfs, and I think for me, the one operative nerf, and my dog just got back from his walk, would be like a really easy way of just reducing that power level, and immediately getting good faith with the community, because you just go, hey, don't worry, bam, one operative off. It doesn't change anyone's like data cards or anything like that, right? Like, if they've built the team, hey, no worries, just leave one of those models off the table. You get more operative selection. It's more interesting for competitive players. Oh, which guy do I pick now? Because I've only got 5 operatives. Like, it just gives you a little bit more of that, and it means that when they start that trading game and their Chaos Lord kills a guy, now you're 5-5, whatever. You have a bit of a punchback if you're an elite player, as opposed to, there's still 6 operatives and you're 5, whatever.
Yeah, with 5 you can't just go blindly in. You can't just play dumb and win. So that would be good, because right now I think you probably can. And to add to that, like, I hated Canoptech, to be honest. I really hated this team, but and you saw at Worlds, Deathwatch players, Canoptech players, and then like it was like most of the meta, right? But the meta slightly adjusted. Mandrakes came out. There were counters. People were like, something could happen. This is why, like, I would never ban Deathwatch or Canoptech. But here, I just don't see. Maybe I lack imagination. It's entirely possible. But I just don't see how meta can adjust to this.
I'll be interested to know if someone figures it out. Like, what's the team that beats this team? Because I'm with you. I don't see it right now from the competitive or the casual level, and I think they're going to be a bit oppressive. Well, a lot oppressive. Like, is my take. Dude, that has been an absolute awesome 2 hours. I appreciate you committing to such an amount of time with me, because it's been invaluable. I think it's probably worth just doing a quick shout again for the tournament that you're running, right? Just in case people missed it at the start and we get another opportunity. So, do you want to do a quick shout out to the tournament and any community shout outs that you want to do as well?
Yeah, I want to shout out So I want to shout out for sure Bart, who's doing the other part of this review. We've been playing Killteam for a long time. You guys took him into your London community, but maybe one day he's back with us. But
you can't have him. We've taken him now.
I know.
He's ours.
He's yours. But also I want to shout out my whole Warsaw community. It's just a lot of great players. We have a lot of fun in the tournaments, and
I'm excited for WTC. Either it would be hilarious for you guys to continue the trend of forever being third place and never moving, but I think this could be the year that you guys shoot up, right? The competition is definitely there, so we'll see.
It's gonna be interesting. We are for sure aiming to go better than 3, but third place is really good, so it's not like we're unhappy.
Consistent.
It was really a really good WTC this year. It was awesome.
I can't wait, man. Like it's such a good community, and really it's one of the best ways to see how each community plays, and you just see the thoughts of people. So if you're interested in that, go check out some of the Warsaw tournaments. You can find them on BTP. The link is in the description below if you want to try and buy some tickets, because it'd be cool to get more communities connected and that sort of stuff. Thank you so much for coming on, and it was thanks to Bart that we've been connected, and we've heard some amazing wisdom from Michael, and for doing the TTS screenshots and all that sort of stuff to be able to provide you guys more insight and more information. So I really do appreciate it, and I hope the rest of the National League goes well and you continue to reign on top, right? So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching. For those at home, if you enjoyed it, please consider give us a like, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. And as I said, this is coming out first on Patreon, so if you're watching it on YouTube, you might want to check out the Patreon because you get access to more stuff ahead of time, and we try to make it as informative and useful as possible by getting rock stars on. So that's it for this episode, and we'll see you all next time. Take it easy. That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Just drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan, this has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.